Brandon Tatum, former police officer, author of this brand new book, Beaten, Black and Blue. There it is. You can see it right there, being a black cop in an America under siege. Brandon, good to have you here. Thank you for taking the time, my friend. Why did you write this book? I mean, obviously, everything that we saw in 2020, in fact, I would go all the way back to the horror in the streets of Dallas, Texas, when 5 officers were killed during the Black Lives Matter rally in that city, and the attacks in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the list goes on and on. A lot of motivation to write the book. What caused you to make that step?
Yeah, because, I was a police officer and I saw the day-to-day of what went on, and I think that most people in society just don't understand the risks that are taken by police officers in this country. And I felt like that their voices need to be heard. Most of the people on the mainstream don't even have enough courage to stand up for law enforcement in America. And somebody like myself with a unique perspective, I felt that it was my duty, my calling to at least say something and give people access to truth and knowledge about policing in America.
In fact, it's so bad some places, Brandon, that people say they're offended by having the thin blue line flag, which is a flag that designates support for law enforcement in America, had to have those taken down because people were offended or afraid of them. I mean, it's so ridiculous. When I was growing up, we were taught the police officers, somebody you turned to. Didn't matter what, color their skin was or what they were doing. It was the uniform you respected. Where did we lose touch with that?
Yeah, this woke culture, this political climate where politicians are making money on victimhood, and so they have to push and pursue all these falsehoods and false realities. Police officers are some of the greatest people to exist in our country. They're the backbone of society, and I think that you can trust them. 99% of police officers are probably doing their job properly, and the ones who aren't doing their job properly, many times they're getting exposed and fired and held to task. So police officers in America are doing a great job. I wish that parents would teach their children, like you were taught and like I was taught, that police officers are honorable individuals wearing a uniform, and you can trust them to protect and serve.
That's right. Now, I never enjoyed looking in my rearview mirror and seeing that flashing light, but that's part of the price you pay. The fact of the matter is police are in your community. And every now and then when I was a kid, I was 18 years old, I talked to the officers a lot because they would hand me that ticket and say, Gruber, you're going too fast again. And I'd say, I got it. But you end up creating relationships. And I want to talk about community policing because you get to know the police officers that are in your town or on your block. And this is so important. But when you take and say defund the police, and you take, for example, 200 police officers out of Minneapolis, you don't have the opportunity to meet the police officers in your neighborhood because they're not there anymore. And that's not safe for anyone, is it?
Right. And I think for everybody to understand this, when I was a police officer, when police officers would get behind me, I would get nervous. And I know that everything I was doing was legal, and I'm a police officer. So right. It's okay to be nervous. That's what's going to happen. When authority is behind you, you're going to get nervous. But when you defund the police, look how it backfires on you. Now in Minneapolis, they want to, spend millions of dollars to hire new police officers because they understand that the death toll and the crime rate has gone out of the roof now that they've demonized and defunded the police. And then now with what's going to happen in George Floyd's case, which I believe is going to be unfavorable to the public, they're going to burn the whole city is going to burn down, and they don't have nobody to protect them. And to be honest, if I was a police officer in that city, I'd say, look, you're on your own, Jack. You can go out there. Y'all wanted us not to be around. Y'all not going to hold people accountable. You're going to just let us get bludgeoned. And so we're going to let it happen. We'll protect life, but we ain't protecting property. And we're not going to risk our lives for people that don't care. So they're in a pretty bad position, a bad predicament, based on the rhetoric they've been pushing against police in their own city.
Brandon, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously the narrative continues to be that police officers are racist. Doesn't matter that you're a black American, a police officer, a guy who's done the job, been on the beat. You get degraded, you get insulted, you get hit with this broad brush as well. I mean, sure, there's racism in America, but is it anything like the left would have you believe, running rampant inside police departments, police officers going out to attack black and brown people by design? I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I find it hard to believe that it's even remotely regular or normal anywhere in America. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a big lie. It's probably one of the biggest lies told in America that police officers are these racist people coming after black folks. That's not true. I mean, I think police are the least racist people in our society. All you have to do is go to any inner city and watch how many police officers who are white risk their lives for black individuals on a day-to-day basis, being there for victims of crimes, investigating, solving crimes, putting people behind bars that need to be put behind bars, getting rid of those people who are online doing things that they shouldn't be doing involving children. People kind of forget that police officers do that as well. And we have to be mindful that police are here to protect and serve, and they do it in an excellent fashion. This racism talk is a complete lie. People need to understand that politicians are making money on the back end by keeping you in fear, keeping us divided, and promising you things that they create, promise you to fix a problem that they create on an annual basis. So don't fall for it. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Let me ask you, Brandon, about one of the wish list items on that far left agenda of transforming America, and that is replacing police officers like yourself with social workers and others that would show up at a domestic dispute. Now, pretty much everybody knows domestic disputes are the most unpredictable and possibly volatile situations anybody walks into. Emotions run high, alcohol's involved, you never know what's going to happen. And the left would say we should send in a social worker because we can make them feel good and we can de-escalate. How dangerous is that, really?
It's potential suicide to send a social worker into a domestic violence incident. I just made a YouTube video on my channel, The Officer Tatum, showing live video of police officers helping a lady in a domestic dispute. Unbeknownst to anybody, the gentleman came back and started shooting everybody. I mean, this happened in a split second. And you're telling me trained police officers who were able to return fire, which inevitably saves the victim's life, the woman's life. If there was a social worker, there will be more dead people. I mean, the police will be coming there to pick up more additional dead bodies because they're not adequate enough to start out with social workers. I'll tell you this, I'm in favor of social workers coming to these scenes, but they need to come there after police have made the scene safe, after the security has been there and they can eliminate a person as a potential threat. Then they can come in and talk to the wife or whoever and get them the resources that they need. We did this successfully at the Tucson Police Department back when I was a police officer, and so it can work. But they need to be smart enough to know that they need the police officers to be there to protect and serve first.
Sure.
And then you can have these other resources later.
And one program that I think works in this country is called the Baker Act. It's been in Florida for about 35 years. If you show up on a scene as a police officer, you see somebody acting abnormally, you can take them into custody, not arrest them, take them into custody, no police record, kind of get the situation calmed down for 2 or 3 days. I think that's a pretty good idea that might be better to spread across the country. The book, it's called Being Beaten Black and Blue, Being a Black Cop in an America Under Siege. I suggest you read it. Brandon Tatum, he is the man right there that wrote the book from his experience in Tucson and elsewhere. Brandon, good work. Greatly appreciate you being here, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.